Welcome to Breakfast with the Brookses. Super excited to have everybody here on YouTube live, guys. And for the first time, we're also broadcasting live on IG. So if you don't follow us on Instagram, we certainly would encourage you to go over to Instagram. It's Breakfast with the Brookses on Instagram. I'm sure we're the only ones that have Breakfast with the Brookses over there. So make sure that you go over, like the page, follow us. But for those of you guys who are joining us here on YouTube, thanks for having us. Thanks for joining us. Today is going to be a very interesting day. I'm sitting here with the lovely Cherie Brooks Jr.
Yes.
Fill in the blank. Come on, just roll with me, babe.
Hey guys, good morning. I'm Cherie Brooks Jr., author, speaker, relationship, and life balance coach, and it's great to be with you guys again this Saturday morning.
Yep.
Welcome to Breakfast with the Brooks, and we have our special guest today.
Good morning, everyone.
Part two. Dur. Yeah, dur. I don't know what language that is, but that's an actual language, and it means two.
I don't know. Dos is two in Spanish.
Dos is two in Spanish. Right. But we're back with Karen and Taylor. Good to have y'all back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Y'all good?
Thank you for having us. We're good.
We're going to talk about Taylor. How did it go this week?
And they didn't fight after the show last week. There was no fighting.
No, it was awesome.
It was awesome. It was awesome. No fighting allowed, right? So listen, guys, we're on YouTube here. We're on Instagram there. I got a lot of moving parts. So if Cherie looks like she's trying to catch up,
if I'm cross-eyed,
and she's cross-eyed,
excuse me,
and she doesn't respond right away, then y'all know I just threw a monkey wrench in her plans, and it is not the way she thinks.
It takes me a minute.
So let's go to the chat really quickly. Good morning, Wanda. It's good to see you. Wilma, thank you for joining us. Tawana, thank you. Chris J02, I appreciate it. Candace Smith, my sister,
sis.
Not from another mister, from the same mister.
Please.
And don't worry about it, baby. I know it's there.
No.
Give it to me. I need my coffee. Thank you. Cherie's worried that I'm going to kick my coffee, so we're not going to do that. But guys, listen, if you guys tuned into last week, and this is your second week with us, I want you to say tuned in. If this is your first week with us, I want you to say first time. Instagram, if this is the first time that you've joined us, obviously we've never broadcasted live on Instagram. So it is the first time. So you're all first timers. So do me a favor, guys. Go ahead and chime in on Instagram. So today, what are we talking about today, babe?
I don't know, because you like...
It's okay. What did we talk about last week?
I don't know.
Okay, so anyway. Kara, do you remember, Taylor?
What did we talk about last week, Taylor?
Factor?
The sticky factor in relationships when it comes to parenting.
Yes. You
just
it's okay, babe. It's okay. Do me a favor. Tell us about what is the sticky factor and why is it important?
The sticky factor is number 1, communication. Number 2, communication. And number 3, communication.
Yep.
Communication is key in all relationships.
Yep.
Without communication, your relationships will falter. Whether it's with your children, whether it's with your spouse, whether it's with your coworkers, in any relationship, communication is key. And that's the glue that keeps the relationship together, because no matter what issues you're facing, if you can't talk about it, or if you don't talk about them, then you never get to resolution. Right.
And Karen, one of the things that we like to make sure that people understand and that they know, there's this idea, maybe it's healthy communication. Well, let me just say this, guys, and I'm trying to get myself together. Listen. If you think about the word communication, to have any communication whatsoever, I don't, from the perspective that we're going to talk about, communication when it's done by definition means that there has been a transmission and a reception.
Right.
When you talk about unhealthy communication, that means someone was transmitting, but nobody was receiving.
Right.
Or someone was listening really well, but you wasn't saying nothing.
Okay.
And so oftentimes people say, well, I think you need healthy communication. I think all communication is healthy. And I want everybody to understand that. Meaning, I think there's unhealthy dialogue. Okay. But when you have solid communication, even when it's about things that you do not like, I want to press on y'all's perspective a little bit this morning. I honestly believe that it's good. It is good that we have the conversation, even if we don't feel good about what we're talking about per se. The problem is when it's unhealthy is when the communication has not happened at all.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Cherie, you got something you want to add?
Yeah, I think that sorry, that's weird. My phone never does that. being able to express your thoughts, being able to share whatever you're doing is healthy, because what happens oftentimes is that what is unhealthy is when you never say it.
Yeah.
When you keep it to yourself and you don't share it. And you have to realize that communication is a skill set that you have to learn. And the only way you learn it is by practice.
Yep.
And so it's not going to always come out right. It's not always going to sound right. It's not always going, your wording is not going to always be right. But the more you do it, the more you practice it, the better you get. And that's how you get to effective communication. So it's healthy to just talk, to get it out, to be able to share it. And that will help you to get the practice in and get your reps in to become an effective communicator, which comes later down the line.
Now, I do think that there is effective and ineffective.
Yes.
I do believe that. You get what I'm saying? But I want everybody to dispel the myth that we just don't have, if we can have, good communication. Let's just go with if you can communicate. Let's just go with that for the sake of this argument, because the reason why I want to start there, you and Taylor had a challenge a couple of weeks ago where you were not communicating. And let's rewind a little bit, because we're talking about the sticky factor. And let me back up for 1 second, Cherie. Guys, Malcolm Gladwell, I don't know if you've ever read any of his books, but in the book, The Tipping Point, he talks about that there is this thing in relationship, in business that causes you to really become attached to a product and or a service.
Right.
So when we think about Chick-fil-A, when we think about a big brand like Coke or Pepsi, when we think about another, big brands like that, there is what's called a sticky factor that causes you to not only adopt to their product, but stick.
Right.
And you don't go away. So if I say Coke or Pepsi. Coke or Pepsi. Coke or Pepsi.
Pepsi.
For me, it's Pepsi. Listen, there is no both and.
Right.
If you talk to a person about Coke or Pepsi, they're going to give you either or. They're not giving you both and, because those products are so demonstrative. They're so distinct.
Right.
And then there's a reason why you stick with them. Well, I think that also in relationships, guys, it is significantly possible for you to be able to have that thing that one attracts you or wants you to be in the same space with people. Mm-hmm. And then two, the thing that keeps you there.
Right.
And so I think that in relationships, communication is that sticky factor. And when it's done correctly and when it's done at a very healthy or high functioning level, I tell you, things are going to go really, really well.
Right. And when you think about people, when they talk about that they have good relationships, typically one thing that they always say is that, well, I can talk to them about anything. We can talk about anything.
Right.
And that's a sign that you have a healthy relationship when a person can say that. But when you have a relationship and it's like, I can't go to my mom and talk to her about nothing. Right. There's a disconnect.
Hey, Taylor, have you ever told your daughter? Taylor, has your mom ever told Taylor? You've never told your daughter anything,
right? No,
exactly.
No.
Yeah, because if that's the case,
we got other
there's
issues.
A secret going on,
exactly.
and we need to have a whole nother conversation.
Right.
No, but Taylor, has your mom ever said to you, well, you can talk to me about anything?
Yeah.
Your honest thoughts when she says that, what are you thinking?
I'm in trouble. I don't know.
You're in trouble? Okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm going to go with that. And the reason why is because if she has to clarify to you at all ever that you can talk to her, you can talk to her about anything, what that means to you is, well, either A, I'm confused, I thought I do talk to you about anything, or B, I really can't, or C, what you just said, and that is, what did you just say?
I think I'm in trouble.
I think I'm in trouble. In other words, it says something.
You bring that up sometimes before grades. Or before. It feels like sometimes you know something, and I'm like, oh, I didn't do anything. You're like, Jill, you can talk to me, right? I'm like,
oh, I understand. Okay, so I'll give you an example.
So
I remember when our son was in school, and the teacher would call and tell me something. So he'd come up from school and I'd be like, is there anything you want to tell me today?
Right.
That's what she's referring to. She's referring to it in that sense.
Oh, okay. Because
and that's what she's saying, like with the grades. It's like,
Yep.
You're like, is there anything you want to tell me?
Before you answer that, really quickly, I want to go to IG. We've got somebody listening to IG. It's a little too far away for me to see, guys. But welcome on Instagram. We want to welcome everybody to YouTube. Y'all do me a favor, for those of you guys on YouTube or Instagram, I want y'all to be a part of the conversation. As much as we may not be able to engage you on every little thing, tell us, when a person says to you, you know you can tell me anything, what is your thought? What is your thought? And so really quickly, I just want to say great morning to Tawana. Good morning, Wanda. Good morning, Tawana. I've said this to all three sons, and they do. I get it. I get it, Tawana. I get it. Here's what I want to establish really quickly, and Karen, I want you to chime in. When I say to you, Karen, you know you can talk to me about anything, what I'm doing is I'm reinforcing something that you already don't know to be true.
Right.
Okay.
If I have to say that then I have to check, can you really?
Right.
And the reason why is because I don't have to be reminded that I can talk to a person that I have a real solid connection with, that I can talk to them about anything, because I'm already talking to them about everything.
Right. Usually,
does that make sense?
Right. Usually as a parent, when you say that, it's because you're sensing some type of disconnect and you're telling the child, you know, you can talk to me because you're feeling some distance. As a parent, when we say that to our children, it's because we're sensing something. There's a gap. We're feeling like either they're pulling away or something. And so we say that, and the thing that we have to be mindful is that if we really had that solid of a relationship with them, we wouldn't have to say that, so there wouldn't be that distance.
So go ahead, Karen. It's okay. It's okay. Guys, this is live coaching right here. Live coaching.
So as the parent, especially like right now, I'm thinking, why are you confused?
Right.
Because, and this real, right? Why are you confused?
Because it feels like you know something. Like, I didn't do anything, so it makes me feel like I'm in trouble.
But for me, all I'm telling you is, and it's not, I'm not always coming to her because it's something else. I'm telling you because I didn't have it, that you could talk to me. Like, I'm telling you that I'm here. I'm giving you something
this is good.
that I didn't have.
Watch
that
this.
I feel like I didn't have. And so
this is good.
Even sitting here like right now, it bothers me. Like, it really, really bothers me because I'm not always coming at you like that. Like, if that, I don't know why.
Okay, so
I
want to put a pin in that.
Right.
And one thing I want to say before you jump in is, and this is so good. This is live, y'all. So we are bringing Karen and Taylor because we're working through their communication issues, whatever hiccups they have. Let me just preface this all by saying Karen and Taylor have done a tremendous amount of work. They've been in our MAPS community for going on 3 years now. And the truth of the matter is that they've come a long way. One of the reasons why that happens, Karen, is because you guys are not hearing each other. So when you say to her what you just said, she's not hearing your heart on that matter. That's why it bothers you, because you just want her to hear your heart. When she is saying to you what it is that she actually feels, I think what we really have to do is to stop for a second and think to ourselves, how does a 17-year-old process?
Right.
And how and where is their mind? Right. So that when it gets to the place that you do this drill effectively enough, it won't even have to be said. It's understood. So the reason why I check in with you and say, you know, you can come talk to me is because I'm feeling, like Cherie said, this disconnect. Well, what do I need to do is the question. We're going to talk about that today. What are the steps I need to do to bring us closer so that you know I'm here?
Right.
I don't have to reassure her that we're close right now because I'm sitting next to her. But if she's feeling distant from me and I'm sitting next to her, there is a division here that we have to drill down on and figure out.
Right.
So that's not anybody's fault. That's not a blame. That is a legitimate feeling that I want you to be really careful about emotionally attaching and marrying yourself to that emotion, because it really has nothing to do with her. It's everything to do with you. Go ahead, Cherie.
And that's I wanted to go back to. And I think that as parents, we all do this. We parent out of our experience. Right. And so we have to be very careful not to put that, you know, the lacks that we had, the things that we went through, to not put that on them. And so the reason why that bothers you and why you have such an emotional attachment to that is because you don't want her to experience what you experience, which all of us do. That's normal.
Absolutely.
But you just have to be conscious of it and mindful of it, because sometimes what we do is like parents will be overly protective because they've gone through stuff, and you're putting that on your children. Like, I'll never forget, like with our
I'm saying how to IG because I don't want y'all to think we're ignoring y'all.
With our daughter, particularly Glenn, because he was who he was when he was a teenage boy, and the things that he experienced and things he went through, he was overly hyper sensitive in protecting our daughter to the degree that it came across like he didn't trust her. But it was that he didn't trust boys. He didn't trust people around her.
And it was based on what?
And it was based on his own personal experience. It was she had not demonstrated anything. She wasn't doing anything wrong. She wasn't, her
mind wasn't even there.
Her mind wasn't even there. But because of his past, he was just overly vigilant. And so just as parents, we have to be conscious of that and realize that. And I think the thing that's great with you and Taylor is that you guys have the relationship that you guys can talk. Right. Like, you can tell her, this is where this comes from. It's not, Taylor, that I think that you're doing anything wrong. I'm just scared. And because I didn't get this, and I just want to make sure that you're not getting this. And so you've had those conversations. And so, there's still some emotion attached with it because you're human. Yeah. And that's okay. Nobody's asking you to be inhuman.
I just thought, like, you saw me last week, like my high, especially with her and my son. Like, you think, I know, like, work is not just done. You do it and it's over. And I know that it continues. But I still thought it would be better than this. And so it kind of just threw me a little bit. Mm-hmm. Not that, we're working on it.
Right, and you got to remember, too, she's a teenager. She's going to be confused.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm always confused.
Right, she don't understand.
Say that again, Taylor.
I'm always confused.
Right, she doesn't understand.
So Taylor says I'm always confused. And so what she's really saying is please don't take that personal. Right. I don't mean it toward you. I'm still trying to figure it out. For those of you guys who are just jumping in the room, I see the comments and we're going to tag you. Here's what I'd like to do, guys. Because I can't pay attention to them, you, the comments, IG, I want you guys to be flies on the wall, and I want you to comment and engage with each other. If you are tuning in for the very first time and you're on YouTube, we really would love it if you subscribe to our channel, right? Yes. If you are tuning in for the first time on IG, good to see Deidre in the room. Hey, our bonus, you're the bonus mom. She's the biological mom of our son, Justin. I had to get my language right there. She was like, wait a minute, get it right. Get it right.
I'd like to affectionately say my sister friend.
Yeah, absolutely. So my ex-wife for the language.
Because everybody's confused. They're like,
what? So I just want to say thank you so much for jumping in. I can see you from here, but everybody else on IG, thank you so much for jumping in. If you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel, go to the link in the Instagram, in our bio on Instagram, and you can do that. I'm going to do a real live illustration, and I'm going to talk a little bit about, we're going to change gears for a second. We're going to talk about boundaries for a minute. Mm-hmm. One of the challenges that I know we had as parents, man, and if we're not careful, we can still have them, and our kids are grown. Mm-hmm. And that is this idea of being able to stay in our own lanes, right? And the reason why it's hard, because we as parents, and y'all tell me if I'm lying, we know real danger. Right. Like, we know that this world don't care nothing about our kids. This world will gobble them up. And when I say world, I mean the system. Right. The authority figures, you name it. No one cares about your baby like you do. Right. So as a result of that, what we as parents, and I've had to remind Taylor, I still, to this day, Justin is 25 years old. Shantae will be 34 soon. Wow. I just realized that. Jesus. And I still have to say to them, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for controlling you out of my own fear. Right. Yes. I'm sorry for ramping up on you because I was afraid to trust you because I was not confident that I really put in you what you needed in order to navigate life. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry that I didn't put more confidence in God than I do in me, your mom, or even you. I'm sorry. And it's funny because they're like, Dad, you don't have to say I'm sorry no more times. My ex-wife, we talk all the time. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I was such an idiot when did you forgive me? Like, can I say I'm sorry again? And she's like, Glenn, I get it. Like, that was like 20 30 years ago almost, or whatever the case may be. Here's my point. We don't know how to stay in our lane.
Right.
We don't know where our lane starts, and we don't know where it stops. Mm-hmm. And sometimes even when we do, we change lanes without telling you. Mm. That's a problem.
Mm-hmm. That's really good.
So, or you change lanes without telling us. Right. Because you don't know how to communicate. Guys, give me a thumbs up if I'm right. Sidna said, yes, ma'am, still going through it. I get it. Love. Look, guys, if y'all believe, am I right? Give me a 1 in the chat. If I'm telling the truth, for you guys who are on YouTube, for you guys who are on Instagram, give me a 1 in the chat if I'm telling the flat out truth. Because y'all already know this parenting thing is not easy. Sheree, you want to say before I go to the whiteboard?
Right, and I think that, the thing is that one thing that parents always, and we always tell parents, okay, so I was 18 in 1980-something. In 1983.
Was it 83?
It was 83.
You was 18 in 83.
I was 18 in 83.
Jesus.
An 18-year-old.
I was 17 in 83.
Today, in 2019, is a very different 18-year-old.
Right.
And so often what we'll tell our kid, I know what it's like to be 18. I've been 18 before.
I've been your age.
You've never been 18 in 2019. You've never been 15 in 2019. And so that sometimes, and I'll go back to this. We allow our fears to dictate how we parent. And that's human. Now. That's human. I'm not saying that that's wrong, but I'm saying that we have to be conscious of that. And we have to make sure that we're not putting so much of that anxiety on our children. And so that's how we wind up getting out of our lane. Because if I'm the parent, my job is to guide, instruct, to prepare them.
So I'm going to go to the whiteboard while you're talking.
My job is not to drive their life. My job is not to control every situation that they get involved in. My job is not to prevent them from ever failing. Because you have to remember that part of growing up, part of maturing, part of succeeding in anything in life, failure is a part of that process. And so if we prevent them from ever falling, they'll never learn how to get up. Now, your job is to be there to pick them up. Now, I'm not saying you just let them go off into something completely, if you see red glaring warning signs, you don't just let them go into that. But some things you're going to have to sit back and allow them to experience.
And that's something that I had so much difficulty with, especially with Jamel and my grandchildren's mom, because I had to finally admit what I was doing was trying to control that. So he was not me and his dad. Right. And all I saw was me and his dad. When I saw myself in their mom, and I saw him and my ex-husband. And so I thought I was right. Right. I was like,
Right, it comes from a good place. You feel like you're doing the good thing because you're trying to protect. I'm trying to prevent you from going through what I went through in my life. Right. But we can't control that. Right. We can be there to support them. You want to be there to be that listening ear. You want to be there to pick them up when they fall. But when we cross over and we start getting in that lane, somebody's going to crash because you didn't just cut them off. You got to think about you just pulling out in traffic and they steady going. There's going to be a crash. There's going to be a collision at some point.
Right. And for her, I'm a woman. And so I was her age. Right. And I knew what I was doing at her age. And I knew how I felt at her age. And I was just determined that she was not going to be me. She was not going to do that.
But I want to share something with you.
I know.
Guess what?
She's not you. I know. And if a lot of parents, especially moms, we don't want our daughters going through what, and not that the men do. I'm going to speak for me. You don't want, if you were at a bad place, even with guys, relationships,
you'd want to protect them
sex,
from that.
Everything, you don't want your daughter out there doing that. And that's why I was fearful that I didn't prepare her. Right. So it scares me a lot that I didn't prepare her because I'm holding her.
Right.
I'm going to jump in really quickly. Okay. Just go ahead and speak to that and then throw it back.
Okay. And the thing that we have to remember is that, and this is our daughter, Shantae, made it abundantly clear to us, I am not you. Right. You're not basing your decisions on who I am. Right. And we had to be honest about who she was. Right. Her personality. Right. She was nothing like me.
She's nothing like me
at that age at all. She was extremely confident. She knew who she was. She knew what she wanted. She had her own values. Right. She wasn't me. Right. I was damaged. I was insecure. I mean, it was a whole bunch of reasons I went down the path that I went to. And when I looked at it honestly, I'm like, she's not me. Right. So I can't treat her like a little me.
Right.
And so,
and I'm going to pick up right there. And guys, I want y'all to hear this. Put this in the chat. And this is going to help everybody. I need everybody, both on Instagram and on YouTube. I want you to put this in the chat. Stop calling them a mini-me.
Right.
Put in the chat, mini-me.
Mini-me.
Not.
No mini-me's. Mini-me not.
No mini-me. However you want to hashtag it. Whatever, however you want to put it. I need you to get this in your brain.
Right.
They are not mini-you.
Right.
They are maxi-them.
Yes.
Language change, guys. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say it again. They are not. Justin is not a mini-me.
Right. In all his life,
he is a maxi-him. Shantae is definitely not a mini-Cherie. No. She is a maxi-him. Let me tell you where that comes from. It's a ghetto logic that comes from this identity crisis that we have. Mm-hmm. Many of us have grown up in oppressive situations. Let me just be dead real. Where we have grown affections for something that would just love us back. Right. Because we grew up, many of us, in some sort of disadvantage or some sort of marginalized, some sort of trauma, that's not everybody, but many of us. We grew up in an environment where, quite frankly, we felt like we didn't matter.
Right.
And so the minute you have a child, and God forbid if they look just like you, there is an attachment or an affection that you have towards that child that you begin to see you in them. Now, on a DNA level, of course they are a mini you.
Right.
I get why we say it. But on a personality level, on a temperament level, on an identity level, Taylor is not you.
Right.
All day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
I've known you long enough to be able to say, Jamel ain't you.
Right.
All your Willie ain't, all your other, no. They're not you.
Right.
Now,
they're pieces of
you. And if we're not careful, and Karen is learning this, guys, I want y'all to hear this. We will understand that has everything to do with staying in your lane. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the power or how to stay in your lane. Now, really quickly, this is a very simple illustration. I don't have time to unpack all of this, but I just want to set this up as a principle. First of all, you have to be able to change your language. We're going back to the sticky factor. We're going back to this idea or this notion that the thing that causes you to be attracted to your daughter is the very thing that will cause you to stay attracted and stay in a place where you want to be in the same room with her. Mm-hmm. So when your communication is on next level, you feel close. Right. Am I right or wrong, guys? Right. Put yes or no in the chat. When your communication is on a next level and you're feeling, even with your spouse, when our communication is tight, we feel tight.
Yes.
But when your communication is off, I need y'all to hear me clearly. You feel off. Am I right? Right. Taylor, do you feel off when y'all's communication isn't tight? Do you feel like that things are not quite like, I don't know what's going on? Yes. So what I want you guys to do, and Taylor's like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on. I got to lower my voice because I'm getting really passionate. Taylor's like, oh my God.
He's yelling at me.
He's yelling. So guys, I'm going to give you a teachable moment. I just paid attention that I had lost Taylor in this moment. That's good. My goal is not to be passionate because that's to the point that I disconnect with her because now my ego just got involved. Right. So I'm going to tone down the passion a little bit so that I can bring Taylor into the conversation. I'm going to ask this a different way. I want to show y'all what communication looked like. I was transmitting. She was not receiving. So therefore, she didn't connect the dots. So Taylor, when your mom comes home and you feel like that you guys are in a good space, do you feel like that when your communication is right, that y'all are in a good, it makes y'all feel like y'all in a good space? Yeah. Y'all hear her immediately connect and she opened her mouth. Yeah, it was none of this and none of this. It's like, huh? Karen? Yes, absolutely.
So do you see how you're projecting your voice?
Yes.
You just gave me this big light bulb because when I get passionate, like when I'm talking to her, just like last week about the cooking and, the dinner, and I was passionate and I was in there and she was just like,
right.
Just shut it down.
Absolutely.
Right. And we learned that with Shantae.
We had to learn that with our daughter.
Well, he learned that with Shantae.
I had to learn that.
And even like with you, she just like, her eyes were big.
Right. And, it was like, and I saw it.
But now I see what she saw.
She can't connect. That's the way I am. I can't do 10, it shuts me down.
And I'm 10, 11, 12.
Yes, all the time. But I love you.
I am.
Hey, if anybody else feeling Karen, y'all, does she got any 10, 11, 12 brothers or sisters in the house? Put that in the chat, y'all. I'm a 10, I'm an 11, I'm a 12. Wow. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Taylor, did you see that? See, here's what I know.
She just hears you yelling.
That's all she hears.
That's all she hears.
She doesn't hear your words.
Passionate about what I'm saying.
So let me go to my illustration. So this is a road. That's great. I wish we had time to unpack that and go with that, but that's great. So guys, this obviously is a road, right? And in this being a road, this is a 2-lane highway. The red represents the shoulder of the road before you run off into the ditch. This is the ditch, right? So the red represents where that edge of that means at this point from here on, that's danger zone. You are way off the road. Does that make sense? Okay. So now, let me finish.
Okay.
I know where I'm going, guys. Just ride with me. The blue represents the guardrail.
Oh, okay.
The reason why we have the blue before the red is because the blue is a warning before you get here.
Gotcha.
So for me, the guardrail is, and listen to me carefully, guys, when all of a sudden there's a disconnect. Now, parents, what we traditionally do is we'll say, because you can talk to me about anything. That's not effective. Because the minute we say that, we begin to let them know that we're not close. So what I need you to do is I just need you to observe the fact that blue line is there. It's called paying attention to the road.
Right.
Because I was able to pay attention to her communication style, I was able to dial my language back, dial my volume back, dial my passion back, dial my tone back, so that I could let her know, Taylor, I'm not fussing at you. Sweetie, I just need to know what it is that you know, and I want you to understand my heart. And so because I dial it down, Taylor is perking up, and she's coming into the conversation. Because all I did was I just opened my eyes and made myself aware. I know you can't see this little arrow, but I need you guys to be aware of the guardrail. Does that make sense, Karen? When you hear me say that, what do you hear me say?
That I need to tone it down. I need to look at her and connect.
Look at her and connect. Put it in the chat. Look at her and connect.
Look and connect.
Stop using words. Mm-hmm. Start using your eyes.
Right. And this is a tool, a communication skill, is learning to be able to read the temperature, to be able to read people when you're communicating with you. If you're ever talking to somebody, a lot of people, when they're talking, they're passionate and they're just talking, they're getting their point across. They're not paying attention to who they're talking to. I practice watching a person. I can see a person when they glass over. When they glass over, you've disconnected. And parents particularly do this. You'll be going in. You'll be talking to your child about something. You just going. They done checked out like 5 minutes into the conversation. They're not hearing nothing that you're saying. But you're still going because you're not connecting. And so you have to pay attention and connect. And when you see that disconnect, you need to slow down and back up and be like, okay, let's back up. So what did you hear me say?
Guys,
where are we now?
That's huge. Just a side note, later on, probably, and we're talking about this inside of our MAPS community, I just want to take a quick minute that if you guys feel like you want to be in a community of people who are learning these kinds of techniques on a regular, what we're doing right here, we do every week.
Yes.
We do this kind of, that's why Karen is not the same person she was 3 years ago. If you're interested in joining a community like that, we want to encourage you to jump into our MAPS community. For anybody that's online, just do me a favor, put the website, chime at www.thecrcoach.com, THECRcoach.com, and then click on that link, go to that website, and
sign up for a discovery session.
Then you can sign up for a discovery session, which gives you an opportunity to get 15 minutes with one of us, and we'll talk about your needs and which of the 5 rooms you would qualify for, because we do an online coaching group every single week. We have one for couples, we have one for parents, we have one for singles, we have one for men, and we have one for women. So if you want to be a part of that, I want to help you guys understand that this is the kind of stuff we talk about day in, week in, and we read books, we go through the whole drill, and all our focus is to be able to help you get this. So let me go back to my illustration, and we're going to take this to another level. So we already talked about being observant, right? Making sure that you're paying attention. Let me say this. Guardrails don't talk to you. Let me help you guys out. When you're driving on the road, the guardrail is not going to say, hey, 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 hey. You moving a little too close to me. Your children are not going to say, hey, hey, we're disconnecting.
Right.
Hey, hey, mom, I just glossed over. I just checked out of the room. They don't have the presence to say that, guys.
Right.
That's not how they think. That's not how they process. If we expect that of them, I think that we're the idiots. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to be dead real. And maybe idiot is a strong term for some of my little more sensitive people. We're sadly mistaken.
Right.
If we think that our children are going to tell us when they have shut down or shut out. Okay, go ahead and just move the mouse and it'll fix that. And then just do me a favor. Yeah, our screensaver just went on. Grab the, just type in.
Can I ask you something from the chat here? So my cousin Maya is on here, right? And
yes.
She was like, it must be in the Dunn family. I can go all the way to 10. So I don't know how it is. I'm going to ask you, can it come from also, like your childhood, what you've always saw? Mm-hmm. I don't see, as in the Dunn family on my mom's side, but there's a lot of 10s. I see it on my dad's side of the family. There was a lot of 10s. I saw my dad at a 10 all the time. My mom was the more silent one. Mm-hmm. And, but I know it's, you do what you see.
Yes.
Right? You do what you see until you can learn to do better.
Yes.
So I think I've done what I saw.
Yes.
Now I'm better.
Yes.
But I guess you could carry that until you start.
So the question is that do you think that rather than it being a family trait, it's a environment trait?
Right.
Is that what you're asking?
Right,
the answer is 100%.
Yes.
Now, because family and environment generally are one and the same, mm-hmm. the answer is both and, not necessarily either or. So let me help you guys understand. So what Karen is asking, do I get this passion thing from my parents or my family? Because her cousin is watching. Maya, shout out to Maya. Hey, shout out to the MAP singles group. She's in our singles group. And she said, man, that must be a Dunn thing, meaning a family, their family name. Like we all attend. Like I'm all, guys, let me tell you something right now. That kind of passion does show itself in families, but more importantly, it shows itself in your environment. Like I come from a family,
yes,
or an environment of passionate communicators. Did you hear how I said that, baby?
Yes, and I love you.
Translation: I come from a community or a family of loud people.
Yeah.
My ex-wife, Deirdre, if you on there, put amen in the chat in the IG. My ex-wife will tell you
they're very passionate.
They're just very passionate. She used to, God bless her, even when we were married, she used to sit there and look around like, really? Like, does it take all of that? Like, are you serious? I remember first Thanksgiving.
Oh, gosh.
That
I don't know if Dee knows this story.
Guys, listen, Dee, I don't even know if you know the story. The very first Thanksgiving when Sheree and I got married, this is 20 years ago. First Thanksgiving, we're in our new home. We're excited. We want the whole family over at our home. I had all my family over, as many as I could get. Y'all know, you get the ones that'll show up. And but even then, it was a house full of people.
Yes.
Karen, it was terrible. So we in here like it is like we're outside. Like everybody's got their outside
Nobody
voices.
has inside voices.
Nobody has inside voices. So Taylor, can I tell you the noise decibel in there was so loud that your girl, Miss Cherie, walked upstairs unbeknownst to anybody, locked herself in the bathroom, and was sitting in our garden tub when I looked up and realized, well, where is Cherie? Has anybody seen my wife?
Too much.
So I'm in the basement looking for her. I'm all out back. Did she go to the car? I go upstairs. I don't see, because the door to the bathroom is closed. So I don't think to go into the bathroom. Well, she's not in here. I done went to the room several times. Y'all, can I tell you, I came back to that room and then it dawned on me, you didn't go and check the bathroom. So maybe she's sick. Maybe her stomach is, girl, y'all, she is in the tub in a fetal position, rocking.
Really?
I mean, it was like borderline nervous.
They got to
We're making light of it, but it looked borderline nervous breakdown. Yeah. Y'all, let me tell y'all something right now. My baby was like, they gotta go. Y'all, she was George Jefferson without all the flair. She said, they gotta go. They gotta go. I said, honey, what are you talking about? No, they gotta go. I said, who's they? They got to go. Then she started ramping up, y'all. They got to go. And I said, you talking about like my family? Like she said, all of them. Everyone, they got to get out, and they got to go now. They got to go now. Now, this is just me and her. They have no idea. Right. So in my mind, I'm saying, I can't put my family out. This is Thanksgiving. Like what? Like this is our new house. Like I can't. But my wife is serious as a heart attack. So y'all, we're still talking about staying in your lane. We're still talking about the sticky factor. We're still talking about paying attention because this guardrail is not going to speak to you and tell you you're about to run off the road. This guardrail had been ignored. Right. And Cherie and I came up. Cherie was off in the ditch. Y'all hear me? And I'm sitting there trying to figure out where my wife. The reason why I can't find her on the road is because she ain't on the road. This Bama over here. I'm looking on the road for my wife. She's over here. You're looking for your children on the road. They're over here. You had better stop talking and go looking. Because if you don't go looking, you'll never find them. And here's what will happen. You will go all the way up the road and you left them here. This is all the way up the road is next week, the week after that, the week after that. It's 3 months up the road and they back here somewhere. They never did connect with you. So if I didn't slow that car down, pull that junk over to the side of the road, I did not plan on using this story, but this is a great illustration. I said, let me get out of my car, let me walk down to this ditch. That's good stuff. And let me find out where my wife at. That's good stuff. Y'all, let me tell y'all right now, we don't have time to keep going through all of this. I want you guys to come be a part of our community. Yeah. If you are enjoying this at all, this is stuff we do this virtually. Now, it's not with a room full of physical people, but virtually you come in on a Zoom room and we do these illustrations. We share our screens. We're in books. We're doing it. Guys, come be a part of it. The crcoach.com. This is a live coaching session. We're teaching you guys how to stay in your lane. One last thing I'm going to give y'all before we go, and we'll wrap up. If you notice, the lane, right, has a brake here. I mean, it has brakes on this side, but it's a solid line on this side. On the road, what does that mean?
Don't cross it.
Can you cross on this side if you're on this side?
Yes.
But can you cross on this side?
No.
Recognize what lane you're in and what the conversation is, and if a person has a boundary that they do not want you to cross. Now, I know I'm not able to unpack all of this because I can hear y'all's head now say, well, how do you do that? Come on in the room.
Yeah.
Let us say you can. Give me 1 second. The other is true on this side. If you're coming down this side, now I know my artwork is off. So please don't hold me hostage. So you're coming down this road. So those are arrows, believe it or not. You're coming down this road. You can change lanes, but if you're not careful and you don't have your blinker on, you can change lanes and mess around and be. And let's just for the sake of argument, let's say this is a double lane highway, right? And everybody's going the same direction, right? It's not a. I can't erase that solid line, but let's pretend that solid line is not there. And this is traffic going this way. Everybody's going this way, right? So if everybody's going this way and you decide that you're going to make a lane change and you're going to come over in this lane, but you don't put your blinker on, what's going to happen?
You're going to crash.
What's going to happen?
You're going to crash.
What's going to happen?
You're going to crash.
Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. I'm talking to y'all. IG, I'm talking to y'all. What's going to happen?
You're going to crash.
You are going to crash. And here's what that crash looks like. The kid is yelling. You're yelling. No one's understanding one another. You shut down. You shut down. Because you're the parent, you get to pull a trump card and you get to say, do it anyway, and that's just it. But what that does to her psyche is it closes her off to you more and more and more. And before you know it, when she is 18 and she leaves the home and she goes to college, you're trying to figure out why does she not want to come home? Right. It's not because of the culture. It's because you didn't build an environment that made it so connecting that she desires to come home in a very healthy way. Does that make sense? Yeah, now, we just have to own that. Now, the good news is you can change an environment. Right. It doesn't have to stay the same. Right. But if you don't recognize these signs, that change will never happen. You had a question.
So, I have a question for you. So, I know you understand boundaries because we talk about boundaries all the time and you use it even at school. So, is one of your boundaries for me the tone of my voice? Yes or no? I'm just asking you. Have you thought about it? Are you ready to start setting your own boundaries for yourself? Because when you set your boundaries, and I know my sons are probably tripping if they see it because I'm giving her a choice. I'm telling her
Giving
she
an
opportunity to set her boundaries when they had no opportunity to set a boundary.
Right, but you didn't know this.
Right, I didn't know.
Right.
So is that a boundary with me? I want you to think about it. You don't have to be on the spot. And
do you understand what she's asking you?
Not really.
Okay, so let me explain. Yes, so please. Basically what she's saying is if for you, when she raises her, for you, if you want to talk, you're saying to yourself, you say, if mom wants to talk to me, I need her to bring her tone down if she wants me to understand her. Because I can't talk to you when you're yelling at me. And so that's you setting a boundary saying, if we're going to have communication, if we're going to talk, I need you to bring your tone down if you want to talk to me effectively. And so that's your boundary. You're saying, if we're going to talk, you're going to have to bring it down. When you bring your tone down, when you bring your passion down, we can sit and have a conversation. I'm not saying we can't talk or that I don't want to talk to you, Mom, but if we're going to talk, I need you to bring that down. And that's how you are saying that that's a boundary for you because I can't hear you. I'm not connecting if you're yelling or if you're at 12. I can't connect to that.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
I love it.
But because I know we do so.
I don't know. Did y'all hear that? She said it so.
Answer?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She just said it loud. Yeah. Okay.
I feel good because we do talk and we do sit and we do have times and it's great. And then I just remember that time right before we came here last Saturday that it wasn't, and she was just like, you're yelling. But my voice was on a 12.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I want you to hear the word.
Taylor was getting ready to say something.
I have an example.
Please,
okay.
Come on, Taylor.
Yes. I see how it runs with my brothers and I. Because we all do the same thing. It's like how you guys are saying, how she's like on the 11 or 12 when she talks. Is we all feel like either an argument is about to start, or we feel like wait, or it feels like her tone is getting a little louder. And we're like, why are you getting mad? She's like, I'm not. Or we say, why are you yelling? She's like, I'm not yelling.
I'm just passionate.
Yeah.
Right.
So we can't handle that.
Right now. You said what? What did you say? What's that last part?
We can't handle it.
Say that again. Say that part again.
We can't handle it.
Say it again.
We can't handle it.
Can say it one more time.
We can't handle it.
So I just need you to hear that one part.
Right.
And I see my brother shut down too sometimes.
I love it.
And I do it too.
So what we're saying here, Taylor, is if you, and we're giving you language, and your mom has asked for this, so she's ready to hear it.
Right. Yep.
If, Mom, you want to communicate more effectively with me, it would help us significantly if you would take your passion button and turn it back. Mm-hmm. Now, she hears when you say stop yelling, the reason she's getting angry is because
I'm not yelling.
In her mind, yelling means mean.
Right. Yelling means she's
passion
angry.
Means I'm just excited
or
I love you, right? But what I'd like you to do, Karen, is consider that for them the word yelling and passion is the same word.
And I've learned that.
And so you don't take personal the fact that they call passion yelling.
Right.
But what you do is you say, when they say yell, they're really talking about my passion. I can agree with that. I'll give you this last example. Cherie had to have that conversation one day in our kitchen. Shantae was probably 15 years old, and she told me to my face in front of her daughter, listen, you may not know this. We probably were married 2 or 3 years. But I will tell you that if your passion, if you do not work on finding the knob for your passion and turning it backwards or down, you're going to lose us. Not physically we're not leaving you, but you will lose the ability to connect with us. And I know that's not what you want. You're trying to connect. And what we do, Karen, and it's kind of how we were environmentally shaped, right? Because I was too. We are really dialing up the passion because we're trying to connect more. And so I want you to guys, listen to me carefully. If you listen to us on IG, if you're on YouTube, I want y'all to stop drawing the connection to more passion or communicating more effectively to volume or tone.
Right.
That has absolutely nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with connection. And in order for me to connect to you, I have to slow down. I'll give it to you this way. That plug over in the wall has a socket. And the prongs that go into the plug that allow these lights and all these gadgets to be powered up has a specific slot. And if I am excited or I'm passionate about connecting, I will never get that connection right because I'm too passionate.
Mhm.
I have to slow myself down, focus, and speak the language of that socket and gently connect the dots.
Right, right.
Does that make sense?
Raising your voice does not equal more communication.
I love that.
Being loud
I love that.
does not mean you're communicating.
It doesn't mean you're effective.
Right, right.
It doesn't
Just 'cause
mean you're connecting.
Right, you walking down the street with a bullhorn and you're yelling in it does not mean that people inside their houses are connecting to what you're saying.
Correct. Connection is all about, and we're going to talk about this. I'm getting ready to do a seminar. It'll be online. It'll be something that you guys can be a part of if you want to be. It'll be a webinar of sorts. And if you just put webinar in the chat, if you're interested, and we'll tag you when we go live with it. But I'm going to do a communication webinar to help broaden out and break down. It'll probably be an hour and a half, 2-hour session. You'll be able to get the replay if you sign up for it. But we're going to take our time, and I'm going to use examples. We're going to do it in front of a studio audience so that we can engage people. But my goal is so that you guys can once and for all understand what it looks like to really, really communicate. And we're going to want to make this as easy as possible for you to learn how to do this. Guys, today has been a great day. Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm glad we got the chance to do this. Taylor, how do you feel?
I feel good.
Huh?
Good.
Good. How do y'all feel? Did this help you? If this helped you, put a thumbs up in the chat. If it's something that you want to see more of, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. And we're playing with the idea of doing more lives like this where we just don't engage with you, but we bring people into our space a little bit so that we can, in fact, engage and get real live feedback, because I think that this is so much more helpful.
This is really good because even last time we left and we talked about it. So on the way home, we'll talk about it, but we were talking about a lot of things on the way here, but we actually put it into action the last time.
Yes, yes.
Good,
you know, when I wanted her to do something, I asked her about dinner. I was clear.
Yes.
And but she came and said, "Mom, I felt so good. That felt good.
Love
and
it.
I felt good.
Love it.
She was clear when she called me.
She was
like,
clear?
Yeah. And I had the stuff done before she came home.
If you guys didn't catch last week's broadcast, you won't know what we're talking about. You got to catch part one because they came into that one kind of upset a little bit. Because they wasn't connecting, and a little bit is probably an understatement, but we got resolution, and they were able to put and implement some things. Guys, listen, next week or over the next couple of weeks, and Sheree, I haven't even talked to you about this, but I want to start talking about blending families. While I'm thinking about this parenting piece, this looks very different when you're blending a family.
Yes.
So if you live in the Hampton Roads area, that's obviously, if you're not in Hampton Roads, you won't know the 7 cities that make it up. But if you live in Hampton Roads and you're in the area and you're blending a family on any level, meaning that maybe your spouse had a child prior to the relationship, maybe you guys are dating, but I'm looking for people who are co-parenting, things like that. And if you are willing to come on, I want to talk to you guys about your experiences. And we want you guys to kind of sign up for a live coaching session. And this will be a way for you to get a free coaching session. And I'm putting us out here a little bit because this is now putting us in a space where we don't know you. And so we're going to have to get to know you a little bit to be able to help you.
Right.
But the goal is to, if we can help you on camera, we can help a whole lot more people who don't have the benefit of coming into this live scenario. But for all of you others who maybe not live in the area and you want this kind of help, again, meet us in the MAPS Relationship Academy. The crcoach.com is where you can find us. Put it in the chat on IG. Put it in the chat for me on YouTube. And we appreciate y'all.
Yes.
Any last thoughts?
Y'all need to come into this community because, I think it's amazing. No, right. I mean, I've grown so much, and you get to have a relationship with your children, and you get to you have to learn and you have to change. You can't say this is who I am and this is who you get. Right. You have to be willing to change. You just have to be. My relationship with Jamel is just on point. And even when you have these little snags, you know you have the tools to come back and use them. You got to stop. You got to think. So they need to come into the community.
I love it. Guys, we're gone. I'm telling you right now, this has been a great day. IG, thank you for hanging with us.
Yeah,
this is the first time that we've ever done this on IG. I'm just wondering if it's beneficial for us to go live every week. If this is something and maybe IG is just your platform, and you know you don't go over to YouTube, and you're not gonna go over to YouTube. If you're interested in seeing us go live more on IG, just put interested in the chat, and we certainly would love to have you. But at the end of the day, guys, we like to say, oh, isn't that sweet? At the end of the day, guys, we like to say that you cannot get to any place of significance by yourself.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we all
need some help.
Y'all
Have
be
a great
good.
Saturday, guys.
We'll talk soon.
All right, Instagram.
Was it good for you?